our values, it's amazing how you can build a business based on that. I watched a lot of people build businesses, and you can tell when they're out of alignment. It feels hard. It feels clunky. It feels like I feel like I'm putting all this effort in. It feels like hard work and I'm not getting the results. And so for us, it felt like client events were a way to align our values with our business. And not that it's effortless, but it felt like it brought energy. So, and what I love about events is that regardless of what your values are, you can shape them.
Yeah, it's here's what we'd say. Like, we read a book a long time ago called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And Gary has this quote. He's like, well, what's the one thing you can do such that by doing it would make everything else easier or unnecessary? And in theory, let me see here, get on the screen. Here's the idea, right? What's the one thing you could do? And the answer is, what's your answer? I mean, I won't quote you on
The
it.
answer, because the answer is throw a party, because I wasn't the one that was, when I got into real estate, if my broker had said, here's the phone book, start making phone calls, I would have like run out the back door. I would have been done on day one. And just the essence of throwing a party makes all of these activities that we know make people successful in real estate, makes those things happen.
Yeah. And guys, it's grown on me over the last 20 years that we've been doing this together. So first off, if you're on this webinar, you probably already like client events at some level. If you don't, maybe you're trying to grow to like them or whatever. But I'll tell you, like, for almost any personality type, we just have found this to be the one thing that moves our business forward. And it does it in the way that, like, we're happiest about, we feel most congruent about. I mean, here's some of the ideas that we want to talk about today. One is we want to inspire you guys to commit to a referral-based strategy for your business. I hope that as you're going into 2024 and you're thinking through all the different ways that you can market for more business, that up at the top of your list is a referral-based strategy. And if that's true, then how do you do that in a way that you've got a smart plan for your next client event, right? Like, ideally, we would be at this point of the year, we would have all of our client events for the year planned out, and that literally becomes our lead generation strategy. And then you were mentioning right at the beginning of just kind of authenticity. You know, for you, how does authenticity fit into that? How does authenticity help you avoid burnout? Let me ask it that way.
Oh, I think anytime we can follow our energy and where our natural energy is, we want to go do more of that thing. But if your energy starts to get drained, you're going to leave it. You're not going to want to do it anymore. So a key to this is finding, you know, where your energy lies and where it actually grows.
Yeah, I think there's a word flywheel here, and you might not be quite familiar with, like, what is a flywheel. Here'd be maybe one visual way to understand it. We know there's a bunch of stuff we have to do in our business for our business to succeed. We need to stay in touch with our database. That's a lot of phone calls. That's meeting new people in the business world. That's handwritten notes. That's getting face to face. That's social media and posting and print mail and everything else. We know we need to do all of that stuff. We just realized, like, we were dragging our feet on it until we found out that for us, client events, client parties was the start that made this whole wheel spin, and it made everything else easier. So if you find yourself calling clients, you're like, I don't know what to say. If you call either one of us, the answer is probably going to be, plan an event that you can invite them to. Plan something that you can be doing with these people. And today we'll talk about, like, one very specific one that we think the first quarter is an ideal time to do. But this statement here would go year round.
And just to define event real quick, because I think we all have maybe different ideas of what's an event. Like, does it have to be 50 people to be considered an event? I'd say 3-4 people or more, you've got an event. So some of these we're like, well, if we're going to do the event anyway, it's effort. We are going to invite more, but we'll talk about different sizes of things in a bit.
Yeah. Just if your preferred style is a small table, like how many people can fit around one table, then awesome. Do those. If your preferred style is like you want to watch the playoffs and you want to watch them with friends, that becomes an event. There's so many different ways to do this, but understand we're talking at it from the angle of not that you're feeling lonely, so you should have a party. We're talking at it from the angle of, you know, that all of these things need to happen in your business if you want to be successful this year. And this can be the catalyst to make them all happen. So So we've covered some of this before, but here's why we throw them, right? Number one, I cannot overstate this enough. We want our business and our life to be congruent. And there's so many examples over the years. For us, what congruency looks like is like, are we in alignment? But then also like our kids, like, are we raising kids in life the way that we want to? Or are we finding ourselves having this fight of like, it's work time or it's home time? And for us, client events where we would actually like teach them what it means to be social and engage and serve and everything else, like that congruency, that's what gives us a life inside of our business. High quality clients. I mean, what's our quote about having people in our home?
Yeah, so we wanted to work with people in such a way that at the end of the transaction, we'd want to have them over to our house and
they'd want to be there.
And that they want to be there.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Sorry.
The integration of high touch. So we kind of just talked about that, right? Those calls, notes, Popeyes. I got to be honest. I hate making calls just for the sake of making calls. But I love making calls when they are purposeful about inviting people to things that we think are going to add value to their lives.
Because if you're going to call and invite them and they don't want to come, one question is, are they really your people? Is there an alignment there of the quality of the database that you're working with? Because we tend to find that there's a certain type of person we really enjoy working with, and they would enjoy the kinds of events that we host. So you'll start to see that to come into play. And if you do get hesitant when you make that call, I'd encourage you to think, okay, what's going on inside right now that's making me feel that way? Is it because I feel like what I'm offering is not of value? Is it because I don't think this person would like it? Like, so start to figure some of those things out, because once you do, you can really grow this in a whole new way.
And some very simple napkin math. Take the number of transactions that you want to have happen this year from your database, the number of transactions by referrals. Just write the number down wherever you are. Whatever that number is, add a 0 to it. That is the number of people that we would encourage you to be in flow with. And client events are the way that we stay in flow with our clients. Yeah. By the way, COVID made it really hard. I mean, COVID showed us like, oh my gosh, this business model works great when you can be face-to-face with people. It struggles when you can't. Thank goodness the market did some other things. Yeah. But like this for us is a business model. Residual value in the database, relational versus transactional. This is the idea that you don't actually have a business until you have something with residual value. And we all go around saying that we've got these real estate businesses, but the value of our business is so much the relational capital that exists inside of a database. That is the strongest point of value in our business. And that shows up more and more because of this. We'll shoot through this really fast because I'm a high D, but suffice it to say, there's 4 personality types. I'm a D and I'm a C. You are the opposite.
And an I.
And for us, there's 4 reasons why we actually find client events work well for our business, but they come from very different places. Like we still run. We live in Austin, Texas now. I go up to Maryland and I work with the team up there. I'll fly up to Maryland and we'll throw the pie party. Mm-hmm. And in a few hours, we'll have 50 to 100 people come through. Like that's really, really efficient as a high D.
Yeah.
Right. Anything for you, like the high I or the high S, like why parties? Well, maybe it goes without saying.
Well, I think the natural sense is to think, well, if you throw parties, you must be an extrovert and you must just enjoy people all the time. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, because yes, is that true about me? Absolutely. Strong sense of wanting to give people belonging. But like Seth said, I think it's this DC personality where you're like, well, I don't really know if that's for me. They're highly efficient and they're very calculated. They're very, you can target market within your database with events. So I think that's why different personality types that aren't necessarily your party people actually enjoy throwing these events.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we said a minute ago about congruency, and this is actually a picture from this past weekend. So what you're seeing on screen right now is our 18-year-old daughter hosting a workshop for teens. And the reason that I show that other than being a proud dad moment is because this is stuff that we modeled for her over years. And what we realize is the more that we can pass things on to the next generation, it has an impact on our clients. If you are feeling at a season in your business of like, I don't know how to cut through the noise, I'm telling you, you can cut through the noise in this industry by relating to people around their children. It is a powerful, powerful strategy. So, all right, types of client events that we do.
So the big ones that you'll hear about are like the pie parties, movie parties, you do big barbecues. I mean, there's no shortage of large ones. If you're not doing events right now, it's not where I would start. You don't need to go throw a whole bunch of money at something and think, it's going to save everything. Events can be they can be small. They don't need to cost money actually at all. Like some of the small scale ones, girls' night out. I called Nordstrom, Williams Sonoma, Pottery Barn. I invited clients to come to those locations, and each of those locations did a little something, a little 15-minute presentation for our clients, and the clients are thrilled. The store is thrilled. What local boutiques are in your area? What local stores are in your area that would benefit from you bringing in clientele? They're there anyway.
Well, and how you came across those particular stores, right? It's not like you Googled which stores have free seminars, but it's like, where would I shop, and where would my ideal client shop?
Where that's the question. Where would my ideal client want to spend their money? And for me, it was, I want to target upwardly mobile professional women that are making decisions in the home. They shop at Nordstrom, Pottery Barn, and Williams Sonoma. And so I approached those stores, and I can't think of a store that would say no to the offer of you bringing in a group of people. And the cool thing is even if you brought in 4 or 5 people, they don't know how it's supposed to go because you're creating the event.
And we haven't actually talked on housewarming parties for a while because, full transparency, we got to a season in our business where we didn't have the capacity to do them. And also our kids were at a certain age where it wasn't how we wanted to end up spending our weekends. But
and then COVID
and hashtag COVID. But if I think about a newer agent starting out, somewhere in that like 10 to 15 to 30 units, somewhere in that range, housewarming parties, you literally could run your entire business off of housewarming parties.
This is what I started with, was housewarming parties. All I had were my first year in business. I sold 19 homes, 18 of them were to buyers. So not, it is what it is.
Yep.
And I had all of these buyers. Well, how can I meet their friends? Well, throw the housewarming party. And again, nobody knows how it's supposed to go. So you could have pizzas show up, or, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Because all it did is you're inserting yourself into the center of their sphere group. And when you get into the middle of their sphere, like their social circle, they are naturally going to introduce you to the people in that circle that are going to be the next ones to buy or sell. And it's incredibly powerful. We're going to talk today more on the personal growth side of things, which might be a little bit of a passion project, but I don't think it's just us being on this crusade or, the charitable give back stage. I actually think it might be one of the things to dial in the most if people want to succeed in business. And this statement on the page, in a world of AI, it's events and gatherings like these that can't be duplicated or replaced. Me more than you, but we're teaching on AI a bit, right? There's a lot that tech is doing. I do think that this is an example of what tech cannot disrupt. In fact, this is when, have you gotten an email from anybody and you're like, did you write that? Or was that AI?
Or I'm seeing a lot of it now, just reading news articles that I'm like, I don't think an actual human wrote this. Or even hearing fake voices of celebrities like selling products on social media. It's like, it's not them, but they're using AI to create those things. So if you want to cut through noise, you get people together, because it's the one thing that technology cannot do.
Yeah. Be human with people. All right. We will send this out as a list, but very, very quickly, what are the steps that we use in general on a party? Pick a venue, date, time of event. Step 2.
Send out your invites.
How far out do you normally do that?
I think it depends on the event. So if I'm coaching an agent right now, never done an event, I'd say, okay, 2 weeks from now, you're going to go do a happy hour and send out your invites. Let's go. So if you haven't done something, like, that's the kind of thing I would start with, is 2 weeks. I think you're good.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. And the most important part, of all of this, call your tribe.
call your people, set aside the time to call. If you're not going to call, don't even bother. Like, that's not why you're not doing this to send it out and sit and wait to see who replies. Because the most successful parties are ones where you can send out all the invites, you call behind them, nobody shows up to the event, but you called 100 people in your database. 100% win.
Yeah. We're throwing a skate party. I don't know if you know this, a skate party next month up in Maryland. We're not doing it because we love skating, right? Like that, like it's not for purposes of the skating. It's not to get good at skating. It's not because I missed skating as a child. It's because it is an opportunity to call the database. Use it as an opportunity, or you just became a party planner. Number 4, use name tags. This might seem weird, right? Because you're like, well, I know everybody. But when you start to understand that what a client event does is it takes people that you knew one-on-one and it helps them get to know each other. That is when you build a tribe. It is a gift for others to use name tags so that they can get to know each other.
People, for the most part, it's a really awkward thing to go up to somebody somewhere and be like, hi, my name is. So you're breaking the ice right away with, oh, hey, Mark, my name is, and you're like, hey, what do you do? Like, it just breaks the ice really quickly. Not to mention, if you've been in this industry for any amount of time, it will save you from embarrassment, because there are some people that are not going to look like the last time you saw them.
It probably never saves you. It saves me from embarrassment. You do not have a hard time with this, but it saves me from embarrassment. Connect. This is connect before the event, connect during the event, connect after. And it's not just with people that come to the event, right? So how do you think through? So you call them and they can't make it to an event, maybe the one we're talking about now, the one-word party. And you're like, all right, click next. Like, that's not the way it works.
So you send out the invites, and I know one of the questions we'll get is, well, how do you send out the invites? Is it electronic? Is it mail? I don't care. I like electronic because it's quick and fast and it doesn't cost much money, if any at all, right? So send it out electronically. And then it's funny because you get a lot of the no's first.
Yeah.
Because they look at their calendar, no, they can't make it. So they hit no so that they don't get all the rest of the emails. What that does for your ego a little bit at the beginning is tough. Yep. Now, that doesn't mean you're off the hook and you don't call them because they already said no. You pick up the phone, and here's what I say a lot of times. Hey, Susie, just checking to see that you got the invite. Oh, yeah, well, I can't make it. Hey, what's going on? What are you guys up to? Now I'm getting in flow with their life. I'm using the 4 dialogue: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I'm going right through that to see what's going on in their life, what they're up to. They might be going to Disney World. Great. I'm making a note of that because I'm going to call them after they come back, or whatever's going on in their life. Now I know. And that was what the party was for, was to make that connection right there.
Yeah. Absolutely. So take lots of pictures, and
ideally designate somebody else to do it, so you're not in that role.
Yeah. This especially helps if you're throwing a party for the first time. And you're like, gosh, next year, I really don't know how to explain this. Take a lot of pictures, because that actually becomes your explanation for next year to show people what this event is going to be like, whether it's a movie party. What do you mean you rent out a whole movie theater, or the one that we're going to show you in a minute, the one-word party, things of that nature.
And it's great for social media. I mean, you can tell the story over and over and over and over again when you have pictures. So, and it's all about the optics, right? So even if 3 people show up, it doesn't much matter, because with pictures, you can just tell a story around it.
I get feedback. I love these questions you put on here.
Yeah.
What did you love, and what would you love to see more of, or what would you love to see next time? Yeah. If you don't have other feedback questions, take these 2. These are great questions to ask of anybody. It puts it into a positive spin, right? You're asking them to draw things that they loved from it, but then you're giving, in a really, really gracious way, the opportunity for feedback of what could be improved. Yeah. Steve, you probably wrote that. I would never write have fun. No.
I think you should have.
All right. So let's talk about the last event that we did. And this is one, I mean, we've actually been doing this event for quite a while. It's gotten a little bit bigger now, but.
Well, just the concept of picking a one word, as a family, we've been doing this now for a decade, and I only know that because of pictures on Facebook. So we've been picking words as a family, and anytime we find something that it's like, you know what, this is really beneficial and enriching for us, I wonder who else we can help by offering the opportunity. That's how the party began. And my very first one, again, because of Facebook pictures, I was able to see was a group of, it was like 7 or 8 women in our living room with folding tables. This was
Yeah.
not glamorous. It was just a invite that I threw out on Facebook to say, hey, this is what we've been doing. If you'd like to do it, I wanted to invite any women that wanted to come. I specifically, because I was just doing it myself, I was just like, I just wanted to invite any women that wanted to come. And I was really pleasantly surprised how many women raised their hand and said, hey, I want to do it. And all I did was have them, hey, bring a dish to share. And we painted for an evening.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're at a stage in our business and in our life where we have more awareness of the role that we play in the lives of our clients. Like if you're watching this and I say, you know that you are a coach to your clients, you might be like, I'm not a coach. You are though, like, because they have a goal this year that is a really, really big goal. I mean, buying or selling a home ranks so far up there, not only in stress level, but in like major life decisions. If you think about all of your clients and the conversations they were having together between the week of Christmas and New Year's, and they were having conversations around, what do we want to do next year? We want to buy a house or we want to buy an investment property. I bet if I asked everybody on this call, honestly, what are your real estate goals this year? I bet 90% of the people on this call right now would actually have a real estate goal. It might be to sell something. It might be for a family member. It might be to move, or it might be related to investment properties. And it's powerful. So all that to say, when you are in a business where you help people with what is one of the biggest goals that they set, you find yourself in the world where when you start to talk to them about goals in other areas, number one, it puts you in the flow so that when real estate becomes a conversation, like you're there to capture that the flow of that. But number two, you're coming at it from a really good place. Like if you care about their real estate goals, you also care about how their kids are doing or their health challenges or whatever it might be. So can you tell me about the book real quick? It's up on the screen there.
So One Word That'll Change Your Life was written by Jimmy Page, John Gordon, and Dan Britton, 3 guys. And it's been around for a while.
Yeah. But simple premise.
I mean, it's a 45-minute read. It's definitely worth reading, getting a copy of. And the premise is just picking the one word mantra that will kind of guide you through the year. And the first time you do it, it's super weird. Not gonna lie. And so it's just one of those like, okay, just pick something. Pick some aspirational thing that you want to focus on this year. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be hard, doesn't have to be complicated. Just pick a word you like.
Yeah. And to be clear, yeah, you could throw a party. You could find another book that inspired you, and you could throw a party based on that one. We just happen to pick this book with this process called Grab Some Canvases for Michael's and Paint. But the theme is we get families together. And remember, families in this sense are making the move that are the real estate transaction that we love supporting the most. The move up client, they're selling their first house, their family's getting bigger, they're buying the next house. They're a little bit more complicated. They value the role of a professional a little bit more. Like we love that role, right? Same reason. I mean, housewarming parties were great for first-time home buyers. It all depends what season you're in. This is just a season that has worked really well, and it makes sense too. So, couple tips on it. Number one, have your invites show the energy from prior events. So this is going to be hard if you're throwing it for the first time, but there's a reason that a few slides ago we said take a bunch of pictures. If you want to go check out ours, go look at onewordparty.com. Just save that in your notes and take a look at it. And then potluck style. I'm trying to remember where we came up with that. It was probably you. But where did that start, or what was the genius in that?
For years, we threw a barbecue at our house, and the first couple of years, people are like, what can we bring? And we're like, oh, don't worry, we're having it catered. It's going to be great. Just come. And we had a bounce house and the face painter and all this sort of stuff. And what we realized was, oh my gosh, we're robbing our community the opportunity to contribute. And so the next year we said, okay, we're gonna do the meat, and we'll have everybody bring like sides and whatever. People came with all this stuff that they were so proud of, grandma's recipe for this and in secret recipes for this. And here's what I didn't know was going to happen.
Yeah.
After the event, I started getting messages. Hey, who was the lady that made those beans? I really wanted to get that recipe. Can you help me connect with? I got several of those of like, oh yeah, who was the one that had the kids that did. And now I got to connect my community with one another, all because we let them bring food to the event.
Yeah, and then there's people that the only time they see each other is when they come to the same party at our house. And when you start to realize you're sort of like the mayor of that community, again, really, really powerful and really sticky from a growing your business by referral database perspective. And this whole idea of like reciprocity, right? Like when you put people into a world, they start to feel like family when there's reciprocity, and that is something you want to generate inside of your business. There's a whole book on that. Read Robert Cialdini's book called Influence, and he'll talk about, I think it's law number 2, like the principle of reciprocity. It's a huge focus. So why do we host a one-word party? Connects people with a deeper sense of their purpose. Being a change agent. What did you mean by that?
So if when we're able to go into the lives of our clients and help make some sort of shift in their life that helps them grow in some sort of way, they're not going anywhere else but to you when it comes time to buy or sell real estate, because now you've helped them grow in this other area. And again, this indebtedness, this like gratitude that they have for how you've helped them grow, they're all in. You're swimming in this blue ocean. Nobody else is fighting. Like, they're not going to leave you for some other real estate agent because you helped them have a conversation with their kids, or help them with this, pick this one word and here are all the things that showed up. When you help people with things that actually change their lives and you become that change agent, they don't leave you.
Yeah, this is the opportunity to really top grade what we think of ourselves when we look in the mirror of, I'm a real estate agent, right? Like, what is actually the role and what are the conversations that we are actually invited into with clients? They are big conversations. There's a lot of purpose that is happening. I love this next comment. When you connect with a client and their one word, it gives you a follow-up point for the entire year. Save their word in their contact. I would not do that because I would hate to like change all their names in my contacts. But what does that allow? I mean, that's actually genius. Maybe I will do it. When
you take a picture of them holding their words, save the picture in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that you call, like, so then you call them monthly or quarterly, they're like, hey, I know you picked simplify for your word. Have you seen that show up? They might say, oh my gosh, haven't thought of it very much. Thanks for reminding me. Or they might say, you're not going to believe this, but ... But the fact that you remembered, the fact that you cared enough to bring that up in conversation will mean the world to them. And again, it gives us a reason to call. It gives us a reason to stay in touch and to really care beyond just, you need to buy or sell a house.
Yeah, I went over to somebody's house a couple weeks ago, and they'd been to our one-word party last year. I walked in the door just saying hi, and I mean, I guess I remember they were there, but I don't know if it was amazing for them or touching or whatever. And then he points out this wall that has all of their words, and he's like, we look at these every single day and think of you. And I'm thinking, that's so much better than a napkin or a magnet on the fridge, right? Like,
it's $1.50 canvas for Michael's.
Yeah. So we like this party because it's very family focused. Now, if you are tuning us out because we've been talking too much about family, no judgment, and I totally respect it. Understand that's based on the age of our kids, what matters to us, and also the demographic that we're going after.
I did this as a women's event the first year.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And you did it this year as a women's event.
I also did it. We actually host this. I forgot. We host this event twice every year. Once as a family event, and I still do the one as a women's event.
Yeah. But like if your market is singles with pets, then focus there. The point is, whatever you are into, there are enough clients that would love to be involved in that with you. You can make a really, really great business the more passionate you are in a niche. So we've got a friend out in California that I mean, her focus is her dog.
Yeah.
Right. And so she started a charity. She's super involved in things, and it's all centered around that. The point is, find out what you're passionate about and start digging into an event that is focused there. You will find your tribe. When what is important to your clients is important to you, your shared values create a tribe. Like I'm thinking of this family here on the left of we never would have had a chance to meet them. And even if we had, it would have sort of been this small talk conversation. but somehow or another, somebody invited them and they showed up at our party. And the depth of conversation, it just went from shallow to super deep very, very quickly.
Mhm.
And it was all because of the type of culture that we were creating at that
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
Read this book, by the way, because I mean, Seth, brilliant people are named Seth, Seth Godin at least. And Tribes, we need you to lead us. So if you've not read that book, he has several, but that's a great one. So when? I mean, is it too late?
No, I've done this as late as the end of February. Truly, you can do this any time of the year. There's nothing that says picking your one word has to be, based on the new year. Now, if you're like,
Sure.
I still don't know, I still feel weird about it, great, do a vision board. There's families that come to our family event, but then the mom also wants to come to the women's event. So there was actually a mom that came to the women's event and she brought all of her stuff to do a vision board at the paint party. So you can do vision board events as well, and obviously those can be
Yeah, that can be anytime.
that can be any time of the year.
Yeah. So great. The point is you are setting something that is family centered for us, and it is a goal setting event. I promise you, the vast majority of people, if you look at their word or you ask a few questions, I mean, we got this from Larry Kendall, right? It's like you get into flow with people.
Yeah.
You ask enough questions until the topic of real estate comes up.
Yeah.
If somebody's word is legacy, I promise you, you only need to ask a couple of questions before it's like, are you buying investment properties? Right? Like it's going to show up in those conversations. So where? I mean, now we do it at our home. We have at different times. But where else have we done it, or what would you recommend if people are like, my spouse does not want that?
Free. Wherever you can go, that's free. So you can do. I'm sure I've done it in our conference room at our real estate office. So
yeah. If you do that at our room, please put something down on the floor. I don't want the carpet to get trashed. But other than that, you're good.
But if the weather's good outdoors, a couple folding tables, you might even have a client that has great space for it outdoors. Call around your database. Somebody else might be willing to host it there.
We didn't put this in here, but local library.
Really?
Yeah, local library conference rooms. Like we've done home buyer workshops in those. And anywhere that you can get public space, like go for it. Churches,
church halls.
Yeah. So plenty of options, but look at this idea. We just heard this morning, right? Mm-hmm. People connect in circles, not rows. That is a writer downer. People connect in circles, not rows. What did you think when you heard that?
The picture that just came to mind was even when we started just this presentation, right? Around like our movie theater event and people sitting in rows, they don't connect. So getting your database, how can you get your database into more circles so that they can connect with one another? Because here you see people in this picture, like we set up a bunch of different areas where they could literally go sit in circles. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing, but that's where the connection happens. So I think it's a great visual to keep in mind as you're looking at your database. Okay, how can I get my database into more circles?
Yeah, I love that. What do you need? Again, we'll probably send out a cheat sheet after this, but I mean, simple supplies. This is like a very, very inexpensive event to do. All in, you might be a couple dollars, $2-3 in supplies per person.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's $1.50 for a canvas usually. And then once you start to collect the paints, it's a super easy event to do. That's probably one of the reasons we love it. Like this, and frankly, a vision board is, I mean, they're so simple and they have such a profound impact relative to the cost to do.
Database, we talk about goals, and just forget database for a second, just general public. Do you set goals? Most would be like, well, no, not really. This is actually like a covert way into goals, because they do have goals, but this allows that to come out for you to get to have these conversations and to help them dream again. Because I think as we get to be adults, it's one of the things that dies the quickest. One of the biggest comments we get around this is like, man, I can't remember the last time I painted. Because when do you ever do anything creative after you get to be an adult? Like there's all this duty and responsibility. And so it brings out the kid in people, and people really enjoy that and appreciate the opportunity for that to happen.
Yeah, I want you to consider, so there's a few reasons why all these pictures are on the slide. One is this is our most recent party. So these were families that were at our house in the past couple of weeks. But one, it's so amazing to be able to send these photos to a family. Like This is tying a really impactful family memory for them to something related to you. So that's one. Number two, like, look at the words, right? I'm looking at this young guy on the left there, invest, right? Like, now he's a little young for this, right? But like, if I saw that on somebody a little bit older, I'd be like, let's have a conversation about buying your first rental property. Like, we would have conversations. There's so many times that we've seen a word that somebody came up with that the end result of that has been a conversation that related to what you and what we do for a living, helping people buy and sell homes. And so the comments are, get lots of pictures. What do you want to say to people that way?
I mean, I'm sure you can probably even feel it just looking at these, and you don't even know these people, but just think about the memories. Like, this is what matters to people over time, right? You could lose everything else, but memories are what you have at the end of the day. And going back to that change agent comment, like, we don't need to be in these pictures with these people for them to think of us, because the amount of gratitude that they have just looking at the pictures of their family with their kids at these ages, and then to have the one the next year and the next year and the next year, is a legacy that we're helping them create for their own family.
Yeah. And by the way, the one with the 4 ladies, Alice and 3 ladies, they did not know each other coming into the event.
No.
So this is actually classic, right? From a real estate client event mode. So the 2 ladies on the left, they didn't know each other, but they had some connections. Like, we just had to connect them because they were already in the same circles. They just didn't know it. So there's number one. Then the girl with the red shirt, somebody invited her. So we didn't even know her coming in, but the person on the far left of that invited her. And this is another great way to grow your database, right? Like, it is so possible to say, well, I've got 20 people coming. I wish it was 40. Great. Invite those 20 people to bring somebody with them. Like, it's so easy to grow your database through client events, especially if you're doing something that is a really minimal cost for an incremental person that's at it.
Yeah. So it was actually my first time meeting all 3 of them. So right there, I'm like, hey, let's get a picture. Then I'm texting it to them, and I'm saving their stuff in my phone. And so you get to do it there in real time. And it's not this weird, like, well, let me get your name and your email. Like, they're graciously giving it because we've provided so much value to them already.
Yep. Love it. Pro tip, do paint yours before the event. We actually didn't this year. We did it the day after this year, but we've done it enough. It was okay. But in general, our family will get together before we do the event, and we'll do ours. So you can keep us accountable. These are our words for the year. You can keep me accountable. I don't know what you can do with Alice, but habits is my word for the year. And you'll always get a Bob Ross picture out of me, oceans or trees somewhere.
Say, like, hey, paint yours before. One, it's a great example, so people can see, hey, how's this supposed to go? And obviously, like, all of ours are super different. But it's also so that your time there is spent just connecting with people, because painting is actually kind of an intense activity for most individuals, where you're really focused. And we want you to be able to remain the host and be able to talk to everyone.
Yeah. So we had several years worth up kind of on this back wall where people can see examples of what we've done. And again, it just creates conversations. There's a book called Love is the Killer App. And if you've been on, teachings that Alice and I've done before, you might have heard it. But this guy, I think it's Tim Sanders, has this quote. He says, love is the killer app, but be a love cat is what he calls it. And he says, share your knowledge, share your network, and always be human. Share your knowledge, share your network, and always be human. I promise you, if you want to build a referral-based business and you follow those 3 principles, it will happen. And this is a way that we do that, right? Like, we're literally telling somebody about a book that they might not have known about. We're introducing them to other people. We're sharing our network, and we're really letting humanity, our humanness, come into the conversation. It's a great way to connect with our clients. All right. Well, that's all we got right there.
People, just to add on, people are looking for a place to belong. If you don't belong to a church, I mean, now, with COVID, a lot of people don't even like physically show up anymore, right? Like, we watch online, or you're not part of a sports team. There's a sense of belonging that's just lost, and belonging is the new currency. And so what we get to create with our businesses are hosting these events and giving people a place to belong. It's like, because when people start coming to these, they're just like, man, there's just something different. This is so awesome. There's so many good people. Like, there's a lot of people that like lose faith in humanity and they're like, where are all the good people? You get to get them all together and get them to generate something new. So like, think about all the masterminds and the communities that people are paying to be a part of. This is something that they get to be a part of just because they know you. And I never want you to discount the value there is in that.
Yeah. By the way, we'll take a look at the chat. If there's a question or two, throw them in the chat. Happy to talk to them and answer them. So you've been talking with your coaching clients for the past couple of weeks about this. What are the biggest objections you get from an agent of like, I don't know how to throw client events. I don't know if I want to. Like, what are the objections that you'll hear?
One of the big ones to something like this is, oh, my clients wouldn't like that, or they would think it was weird if I asked them about their goals or their one word. Just a lot of limiting beliefs around what people might want or might want to experience. That would be one.
Well, I mean, I'll say that's shocking to me, and I guess it's not, right? Every day you should be having a conversation with someone and asking them something about their goals, right? Because that's literally what prospecting is. What are your real estate related goals this year? Now that's specific to real estate. We're actually just giving you a way to get at that from an indirect method, because you're actually having a conversation of like, what are your goals, period, right?
Yeah.
What are your goals in all areas of your life? And then we're listening for, which I think is kinder, where real estate could be a part of that equation. But if you're uncomfortable asking people about what they're doing in the world in 2024, what their goals are, understand that's showing up somewhere else in your conversations with clients. That's showing up in your lead generation.
It is.
It's probably blocking you from a huge success. So we just have gotten more tied into it over the past couple of years. And by the way, I glossed over when I showed the types of parties. One of the words you might have noticed on there was QL for kids.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we talked about one word party. That's this one. But QL for kids, can you explain what QL is?
Yeah, so QL is Quantum Leap for Kids. It's something that Keller Williams put out years ago, and it's curriculum for kids around money, setting goals, just all the stuff you actually wish they taught in school that
Totally.
they don't teach. And it's built as a one-day course. And so I use that as a personal growth lead generation strategy. I wanted to do it I wanted it for my own kids. Then I invited the kids of our clients, kids of agents in our office. And then I got all these moms like, hey, that stuff that you were teaching them, I don't know that either. Would you teach me? And so then I got a whole bunch of 40-year-old women with some wine, and we went through the content. So if you're at KW, you have access to it, like go use that with your database, with your agents in your office. And it's a great way to give back, to hear their goals, and to it's a giving back, and it's a lead generation strategy. Because again, like, you change a kid's life, somebody in your database, and you help their kid understand money or investing or setting goals, you've changed their life, and they are not going anywhere.
And they become raving fans, because that's when you start to have clients say things about you like they are more than just about real estate, right? They're not transactional. They're in this for the relationship with me. That's why we want your client events to go deep and actually hit this like emotional chord with people. We love the pie party, right? Don't get me wrong. Gosh, yes. But the pie party has long ago, the pie party ceased to be about where do they make the best pies? And we sometimes will still get in debates with agents about that, right? It's like, where are the best pies that we can ship in and frozen or like, and that's great. But for us, the pie party became several years ago about like, what are we doing in terms of giving back, or what's the sort of the celebratory gratitude vibe that is created in the room, right? Yeah. How are we helping people celebrate going into the Thanksgiving holidays? And they're not all good.
Right. Right.
I just got chills. This past Thanksgiving, we had our pie party, bunch of people there, the DJ booth and everything else. And some guy comes up and I give him a pie and I give him a hug and we take a picture. And the next day he sends me a text and he says, I just want you to know how much that hug meant to me. because it's the only hug that I'm getting this Thanksgiving. He was going through a divorce. And guys, I didn't think anything of that. I just gave everybody a hug. But for him, that was a big deal that year. You have the opportunity to bring humanity to your database by gathering them together. And that is the secret sauce of building a referral-based business.
And it's so fun because all these thoughts are connecting in my head at this very moment, right? So we started with people connect in circles, not rows. So when people do the pie event, people are like, well, I'm just going to do like a drive-by and hand them their pie and they go. It's like, well, now you've just created a row. How can you create the event so it's more of a circle? So that's why we started doing a little bit of food and doing the charitable piece, because it allows for some circles to have the opportunity to be formed so that people can connect.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, going to give one last chance. If you got some questions, go ahead and put them on there. But I do want to say, take a picture of this, because one of our goals is to give back with more training this year. And so here's a couple others. You might have been on one a couple weeks ago, or last week, maybe, with Katrina and I. We were talking about numbers you need to know. We've got 2 more that are lined up. So February 7th, we're going to be talking about getting your financial house in order, a bit of business finances, a lot of personal finances, getting your financial house in order. We would love to see you there. And then we're also going to talk about hiring 101, mastering your first hire. This might be the most important hire. And
they're not both on February 7th.
They're not both on February 7th. We'll change the date there. Mandy, can you change it? I actually think you'll be able to change it in real time if you change that. They're not both on, it's February 20, I think it's 22nd, but we're going to find out here in a second. Okay, so we'll change that slide, but if you go to that QR code, that'll load that up and you can sign up for them. Same things here, you'll get reminders. But those are 2 of the upcoming trainings that we're doing. And we'll go from there. Love to see you on those. If you have questions or want to reach out to Alice or I, in a way on anything, like we're both deep into this with our own, with our team, but with the agents in our office, with the agents that you coach. And we're finding that there's an opportunity for us to take on a few more agents right now, just in a cohort sort of way. If people want resources, we want to be able to give them. And we're talking about topics that are near and dear to our heart. Are there other?
Monica, I love what Monica said here. She loves the idea so much that she's going to do this for her clients, but the agents in the office. So if you're on an ALC or you're building something, culture within your own office, have this be a project that you guys do together. And then as a result of them doing it, you can inspire them to do it with their clients as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right. Any other questions or comments? Look, one last look here for raising of the hands. Otherwise, we'll let everybody get on with their day. We appreciate you guys being here and hope you have a great weekend, and hope you'll put one of these on the calendar. If you do, we'd love to hear about it and love to answer any questions that you have in that process. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.